Hello and welcome to the first edition of the Economic Times CMO Tech Strategy Summit, wherein marketers discuss the challenges a brand owner faces in the post-pandemic world. What are the upcoming technological trends a marketer needs to adapt to retain their brand in the market? In this special episode, we bring an exclusive event highlight. First up, we have an opening address on reinventing the CMO role for today's world by Pedro Iart, Chief Marketing and ZX Ventures Officer at Anheuser-Busch InBev.
I think as marketeers, we need to have a higher ambition. I think as marketers, an evolving role, an amazing evolving role could be to improve people's lives by addressing deep consumer needs, by creating and promoting services and products. This evolved role of marketers, I really believe, needs to count on new capabilities. So the first one, of course, is a deep consumer understanding. And today we have the benefit of having a lot of data in order to understand consumers in a much better way than we had in the past. The second one is about product design and innovation, and also making sure that this design is 10 times better than anything that exists out there. Another one is how then you connect with your consumer. In our case, the four things that we're really trying to do, first is a mindset shift from just being great marketers and advertisers to being growth leaders. The second one is how do you acquire the capabilities and skill sets that you need for the future. The third one is how do you set an organizational structure centered around growth missions and not functional silos. And then the last one is how do you create a permanent upskilling process for your teams to always acquire the new technologies and the new skill sets that are needed for the future.
Next, we bring you a power-packed panel discussion on Driven by Purpose, Powered by Tech.
I have to start off with Ravi as the first question. How have you seen the customer journeys change over the last 2 years primarily? How is it different from the past? And how are you learning from it in your current role?
I would like to put it in two separate steps. The first step is sales of financial products is slightly more complex. And so the entire sales ecosystem still believed digital is more of a process enabler. So the transaction systems were all anyway digital. 90% of our transactions happen digitally when you do money transfer and those kind of stuff. But the sales of fresh products, it was more sales driven. What pandemic did is made these people cannot meet the customers. So they need to figure a way out of how do I actually interact with this customer when I'm not going to be sitting in front of them and selling the product. That suddenly changed because they wanted to adopt digital to enable them to sell. So the conversation of this being a process enabler to become a revenue enabler, that's the biggest win for the entire ecosystem in the BFSI. That's from the marketeer side as well as the sales side. From the consumer side, my strong belief is there was a huge demand. Supply was not being made available. So we all hope and pray that more supply will come and the threshold of irreversibility of applying for a fresh product that you want to buy, like what happens in, say, many of the online commerce world, will also start happening in BFSI.
Anil, coming to FMCG, how have you changed your business model? Or was it already there the last 2 years? Any thoughts from your side?
The consumer is definitely spending more time, feeling more comfortable, engaging more often, and consuming more content. So I think definitely looking at ourselves and looking at the wider consumer. I mean, that's definitely changed. It was changing in the past, and COVID has just accelerated the momentum. So to that extent, if you were to think about us as marketers and the brands and the portfolios we manage, we need to be where the consumer is, right? I think on one side, what technology and digital is able to do is create engagement like never before. And hence, how we put our brand out there, how do we create those engagement platforms which are meaningful to create long-term sustainable competitive advantage is kind of one challenge. And the other is to kind of look at it at an overall consumer journey. To measure, again, technology and digital is enabling us to measure and be far more scientific than ever before. And then impact through the line. I think those are some of the things that is making life more complex, but the journey is only in one direction, which is more time spent, more comfort, and more consumption.
Sandeep, how have you seen business moving over the last few years?
The growth of e-commerce, which happened in 8 years before pandemic happened, the same growth happened in the 3 months after the pandemic happened, right? And therefore, if you go to any social medium today, all of those mediums have embraced commerce, right? And if they have embraced commerce, that means that the marketers need to see that, right? And therefore, I don't know what term he used the word never before. I think you've got to sell like never before. You've got to market like never before, because the consumer is like never before, right? He's really 10 years ahead now. And that's the change that we are grappling with, the innovation, the technology, the information available, and there's loads of it moving around.
Vidisha, coming over to you, what's your view here in terms of CMOs leading or being the center of the full digital transformation in our firms?
If you look at the products that we are selling, right, we are selling those products which nobody wants to look at, right? It's those electrical panels sitting in our basements. So just purely selling the products without a layer of storytelling of the purpose actually has no meaning for us, right? So in our kind of business, all the more communicating, the brand purpose, communicating the fact that every action of yours is lighting up 20 villages of India or is handing over a better planet to the next generation is very, very important for us. As marketeers, we are trying to weave a dream. We are trying to, weave a story.
Now, Vasudha, over to you. How do you see it panning out from a purpose perspective? Is there a lens you also adopt when we're engaging with clients? What is your thinking here?
Primary thing, is around elements of data privacy, right? See, because as a platform, we obviously have access to, especially because users are on their mobile, right? So by virtue of us being a platform, there are a lot of data signals that we get or use, especially for, meeting all the marketer use cases around targeting, around personalization, around powering some of the data science and AI engines and so on. So a big component for us in the last 2 years around, this whole element has been around data privacy and how do we respect user rights when it comes to data privacy. Also because we operate sort of a global engine, right? So we've had to obviously go and comply with laws, for example, in Europe for GDPR, in the US for CCPA, right? A lot of those things which ensure that, at all times, whatever data we are collecting, processing or using is keeping user rights in mind. So I think that's a big part of our charter when it comes to, purpose and some of those things, and then making sure that we are playing the right role between our, clients, which is marketers and advertisers, and end users. So that's a big part for us.
I'd like to give a big round of applause and thank you to Ravi, yourself, Vidisha, Vasudha, Anil, and Sandeep.
We are now living in a hyper-connected consumer domain where pandemic has catalyzed several trends, the most noticeable being the transition to mobile, which has happened at a pace which is unparalleled. India has one of the largest internet user bases in the world, which is only set to increase rapidly in the coming years. Hence, marketers face the challenge of improving their reach and accessibility to users. These challenges come with their own opportunities for brands to actually drive real connections with customers through an at-scale, personalized and innovative experience. It's time for brands to be differentiated, versatile, and harness the power of mobile to reach their consumers where they are. I think in this new reality of a post-pandemic era, brands must acknowledge that the world is not as we knew it. Digital channels and especially mobile have become the lifeline of customers and marketing organizations alike, as they are seeking to meaningfully connect with the world around them. Over the past couple of years, we have seen an evolution in how connected consumers learn, explore, and buy. Almost 2/3 of connected consumers prefer to use their mobile to learn and explore even when they are in the physical stores. This means that brands need to invest in building seamless online to offline and offline to online experiences for enabling customers. For example, CPG brands can invest in ensuring that they enable product SKU discovery and purchase within the ad experience for impulse purchases for customers. Similarly, automotive or QSR brands can invest in online to offline experiences where customers who discover an ad can be redirected to the nearest store. What is key to note is that mobile is the biggest enabler of digital experiences and will continue to be so in the near future. Hence, building mobile marketing maturity would be the biggest goal for brands over the next couple of years.
Moving on, we have a fireside chat on hyper-personalization equals brand loyalty.
Achin, thank you for joining us, and would love to understand your broad view on the subject of personalization itself, in terms of how critical do you think it is, when should it be the right time to start, and where do you stand on this evolution right now?
There is no right time, I would say. I think it goes back to the fundamental question to ask, who's your customer? Or in today's world, who are your customers, right? If I take Myntra's example, I think personalization has been a very critical part of Myntra's customer experience on the app and also off the app. I feel in today's times, where for a platform which is a fashion and beauty platform and choices are very, very unique at an individual level, you can really be relevant for them. We have been doing this for last many years. I would still say that there is a long way to go for us to continue improving on this front.
Is that something you've seen as a data pattern in the consumer journey, that you get better responses when the messaging is substantially personalized, or the experience on the app is substantially personalized?
See, the way we think about our customers is on two axes: the future strategic potential as well as the profitability they bring to us. When I talk about strategic potential, it's a combination of the revenue over the last certain period of time, the maturity of that customer in terms of how often they transact with us, the kind of categories or styles that they buy from us, or the brands they buy from us, because brand affinity, for example, in fashion is a big thing.
Sure.
And even the kind of brand, whether it's an entry brand or a premium or a luxury brand, right? Myntra plays across the spectrum. The engagement, the quality of engagement, for example, right? It is not just the number of visits you make, but the time you spend and the kind of things you do in every visit. So there is a fair bit of signals we get to determine whether the customer has low, medium, or high strategic potential, and therefore has the future capability to spend with us, right? Then the other piece is profitability, because e-commerce in general has a very critical metric on profitability. That's where there is a lot of challenge also. But interestingly, fashion as a category is a profitable category. And there again, you will see all kinds of customers who are, depending on their discount affinities, their returns behavior, the basket size, and higher the basket size, which means number of items in every order, the more you will be able to generate profitability from the customer. So there are these bunch of factors on profitability. We combine these two and look at multiple cohorts of customers for us.
Every business today needs a camera marketing strategy. Snapchat now reaches more than 100 million users in India, and businesses can easily create and manage ads with no minimum budget and drive meaningful results. 93% of our users use augmented reality for shopping, making Snapchat the #1 platform where Gen Z use AR not only for fun, but also for utility. Snapchatters are talking. Time to listen.
Welcome back. Next, we have a keynote address on innovating marketers' role in current times by Danielle Jin, Senior Vice President and Head of Marketing, APAC at Visa.
Consumer expectations on what a company and a brand stand for are changing too. Purpose now matters more than ever before. 94% of global consumers say it is important that the company they engage with should serve a strong purpose. 90% of millennials are willing to switch brands for one which champions a cause. Marketers need to pick their causes carefully and do it properly. They also need to be culturally savvy and sensitive when they implement purpose-led campaigns in different markets. We at Visa have recently launched a campaign that speaks of our purpose as a network working for everyone. While implementing it in different countries, it was, and as always will be, important for us to take into account local nuances as well. In the era of digital commerce, brands and companies need to step up in omni-channel development, delivery, become increasingly important. With the rapid change of digital innovation and the new concepts from crypto to metaverse, staying relevant has never been more challenging for marketers. How do we reinvent the CMO role for today's world? I talked about how consumers are seeking to understand a brand's purpose, to form an emotional bond and a strong association. They are looking for that seamless experience that requires marketers to become technologically savvy and invest for the future. These, in my mind, are the tasks for CMOs in today's world. Thank you.
With today's privacy-centric approach in marketing, I would like to give you 2 tips that will help you to build more sense with your marketing campaigns. The first tip is build trust with your customers. Brands that exhibit honesty and candidness towards customers have an opportunity to boost their customer loyalty. Invest in brand campaigns to build awareness. If you are able to build a meaningful messages and send them across online and offline channels, users are more likely to share their data with a well-known and trusted brand.
In our last session, we bring you a panel discussion on secrets of the trade, building connected experiences with disruptive technologies.
And I'm going to start, maybe Kunal, I'm going to put you on spot here. What do you mean when you say connected experiences as a marketer?
I want to start off by talking about what connected experiences delivers for a customer. And very broadly speaking, what it delivers is a whole lot of personalization and a whole lot of efficiency. Now, when you keep these 2 end goals and you start moving up or back into the channel, we figure out that connected experiences for us as a category allows us to deliver that level of personalization, that level of ease of use, that level of homeliness, that feeling which takes away the scare of a regular customer when he's dealing in our industry, and deliver him a product or an environment where he's very comfortable. Again, we go slightly up and we say that, look at our category, 4% only of this entire population of this great country of ours is in new financial instruments. Otherwise, it's all bank deposits and FDs. But what we've done is we've turned it around. We've actually created, and we are creating, an environment where not just you and I, but our core target audience, which is the millennials, can come in, feel very comfortable, understand everything in one go, and start taking informed decisions. And that, to us, in a very broad spectrum, means connected experiences, because we use their existing lifestyle, their existing ways of interacting with technology.
I'm going to move to Smita. How different would you define this connected experiences?
I don't think anybody's cracked it fully, but we've definitely started our journey. If I have to talk about our brand, Duraflex is a brand that really talks about sleep, and our mission is to help India sleep better. While our core product is mattress, right? So we've gone beyond mattress as a conversation. What really helped us set apart in the last 2 years is looking at this from a consumer point of view, right? Because at the end, all of us are consumers. Consumers want knowledge in all categories. We were able to really connect with the consumers through connecting the dots. So using information, using data at every stage of consumerism, which is right from awareness to conversion. Today, I think consumers are bombarded with a lot of information, and everybody is digitally savvy now, right? Most of our businesses cater to the audience who are digitally savvy. So you can't have one-size-fits-all communication. You can't have products that you're selling to everybody and anybody and really aspire to be a growing brand. What we learned is having very sharp communication, connecting the audiences, and talking to them where they left off in the journey. So if they're in awareness, use platforms which are awareness building. If they've already done their research on the product and are comparing you with another brand, so just talk sharply one versus the other. So I think that's really helped us.
See, that very difficult category, right? I mean, who is your customer? How do you define who that customer is? And given the fact that if somebody's using the asset, is the enterprise where it is getting fixed? And when you bring in these jargons, which is connected experiences, innovative strategies in marketing, what does it mean for your brand?
Just to give some context, Otis has over 2 million elevators worldwide. and we move 2 billion people per day. So we move the population of the Earth, equivalent of population of the world every week. So if you say being connected, we are connected with every equivalent of every person on Earth on a weekly basis. So that's the first context that we need to know. And secondly, like they say with IoT, we put an IoT device on an elevator, it starts talking to us. Now that's a problem to deal with because suddenly the machines have personalities, some are high maintenance and some are high performing and so on and so forth. So when you talk of an elevator, we know when an elevator is stuck, if there's a passenger inside, it is stuck and can deliver a rapid response before the building can even respond to it. So we are talking about a connected experience from a product side. So that's one side of the story. Now you come to the customer connected side. A typical customer is in an elevator. We want him to spend least time in the elevator. Unfortunately, that is our target. So what we are doing now is to get into the mobile phones of people. So you can today call an elevator with your mobile phone using a Bluetooth technology or choose the phone. And they say to get into the heart of a customer, you have to get into the mobile phone first before you can reach there. So that's the connected side where we have an elevator app by which people can call a lift.
Deepa, when you already have an iconic brand, how important is the whole brand identity while you create your own connected ecosystem?
I actually want to go back to what our brand mission is, which is to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, one neighborhood at a time. And in that spirit is rooted everything that we do. I think the question that you asked is very relevant, especially for a brand like Starbucks, because we have pioneered the concept of the third place, which is that place away from your home and office, which is our stores, where you can be the best version of yourselves, but it was rooted in a physical space. And then when something like COVID happens, we had to, of course, transition and make sure that we're also very relevant in the fourth place. But having said that, our strengthening in the fourth place happened by our focus on delivery, by our focus on e-commerce. We started subscription models where you could get your favorite coffee, and I hope you're having a Starbucks at home delivered to you, the whole bean or the ground coffee, contactless ordering, etc. So it was really important for us to make that transition. I must add over here that when we did that transition, we made sure that we didn't lose the spirit of connection. For us, it's been a fantastic learning opportunity. And today, we're making huge investments for the next 5-10 years on our digital assets, and we want to be where the customer wants us to be.